Is the AI bubble going to burst? This week, Tom Dotan wrote an article for our Substack that explores the web of mutual dependence between OpenAI and its partners, and how, if OpenAI fails, the Tower of Cards may fall with it. We're being joined by Alex Heath, founder of the Sources Substack and co-host of the Access podcast, to explore how much of the entire economy is being propped up by AI. We're also going to talk about OpenAI's new Sora video feed and Meta's launch of their new product that they're calling Vibes.
Introducing Vibes, the new platform from Meta that lets people with no life create, share, and watch short-form AI videos. It sucks, right?
Both are hot on the heels of Mark Zuckerberg's high-profile poaching and reflect a world of products that feel further and further away from AGI. This is the Newcomer Podcast.
This podcast is supported by Google. Hey folks, Stephen Johnson here, co-founder of Notebook LM. As an author, I've always been obsessed with how software could help organize ideas and make connections. So we built Notebook LM as an AI-first tool for anyone trying to make sense of complex information. Upload your documents, and Notebook LM instantly becomes your personal expert, uncovering insights and helping you brainstorm. Try it at notebooklm.google.com.
So, Tom, you had a good story out this week about how the entire economy is seemingly propped up by OpenAI. Are we about to, hit financial apocalypse if this whole thing runs out?
Sell. That's my one takeaway from the story. If you could do one thing, is we've clearly reached a peak and everyone needs to sell. This piece that I wrote, I was really struck by two things. I had a conversation with just an analyst a few weeks ago, and he was mentioning to me that OpenAI has basically become a systemic risk to the tech industry, to the tech economy. And he wasn't even saying it as a negative thing. It was more just that the number of companies that have been connected to and gotten a glow up essentially from Sam and OpenAI has grown. And it, partnering that with the number of deals that OpenAI has been announcing in the last couple of weeks, we can run down them, later in the conversation. And the fact that making announcements seems to be core to what OpenAI has been doing recently. And so the other thing that struck me was this very press savvy and I think a little ham-handed move by OpenAI to invite all these reporters out to Abilene to kind of gawk at their sprawling data center and bask in the incredible ambitions of Sam Altman and the tech world that he has built around him. The fact of the matter is there were a lot of reporters on the ground there mingling with OpenAI and Oracle and other executives there. And this was all part of this big show by the company to basically show off where, where's all your money going and why should you keep writing about us? And this is where the money is going, essentially, right? It's going towards these, giant data centers, the current one, being constructed and of increasing ambition in Abilene. And there was 3 or 4 other cities that they said they were going to be building data centers into. And what I was trying to get at in this story is when the numbers are getting to the point that they are, where it's a $40 billion investment from SoftBank, a $300 billion Oracle deal, a $10 billion Broadcom deal.
There's also the $100 billion NVIDIA deal too.
Right. Sorry, of course.
Years.
Right. The NVIDIA deal, which was announced the day before, this Abilene trip. It's all the stocks of those companies that I mentioned that are public have gone up considerably after the announcement. And so it really starts to make you wonder, what does it mean for a company to get its stock valuation hugely inflated off of a deal that is going to be paid for with money that the company doesn't currently have?
Well, it's also going to be paid for with debt.
Yeah, a lot of it's debt. Yeah. Sure, certainly debt. And sovereigns. And there's no doubt well, actually, I don't know. Where do you stand on this, Alex? I mean, not that we understand the full world of debt markets and the cash flow of various sovereigns, but is he going to keep raising this amount of money consistently to be able to fund all of these deals?
I mean, I think you have to, as my grandmother said, pay the piper eventually. So This is a giant money snowball, and there has to be an outcome on the other side. And yeah, what you were talking about, all these companies with their stocks popping on these deals that are multi-year tranches based on certain thresholds being reached. either a mix of equity, a lot of debt that has not been raised yet. That's the bubble, right? That's the AI bubble. And, I was reading your column where you list all these companies that are so intertwined with OpenAI. You left some out, actually. It's gotten to such a point where Reddit's stock went down like almost 10% today, the day we're recording, because some third-party web traffic analyzer firm said that like a low single-digit percent of their ChatGPT links that they were getting in ChatGPT have like disappeared. Like something very like random, just from like a similar web or something of like, like ChatGPT is citing Reddit a little less, and the stock goes down like 8%.
Interesting.
It's like
that's
interesting.
huge.
I didn't see that.
That's the bubble. Is like, I think Shopify's stock went up when they announced the merchant partnership with ChatGPT, where you can buy things in ChatGPT. The froth and the excitement about this is just insane right now.
Right. And the volatility, right? That something can go up and down, double-digit percentages at times because of a deal whose value isn't even really figuring into the bottom line or the top line of most of these companies. Reddit's an interesting one, actually, because I don't know this, maybe you do, but like they signed a licensing deal, OpenAI did, with Reddit for training. Did their stock move much on that? I imagine
it did when I think they announced it right before they went public, but
They did pop, I think, in some extent in their IPO, on part because people understand that Reddit is such a great source of human-generated data for large language models to train on. And so if, you have these licensing deals with OpenAI, that's a great business for your social media company if you're kind of the remaining trove of human-generated data.
Yeah. And look, if we were talking and TikTok was a public company, maybe it will be. Maybe this Frankenstein TikTok US joint venture will be soon. But if TikTok was public and the Sora 2 launch happened like it did yesterday, the day before we're recording now, I guarantee you TikTok stock would have gone down based 100%. Off of an invite-only beta app that's super buggy, that has no monetization, that who knows how much OpenAI is committed to it. It feels like everything is on a knife's edge around OpenAI. I think you captured that in the piece, but I think it's actually just much broader than we think.
100%. Yeah. There's a much larger version of it. Maybe someone else can do that talks about these second order effects of, and it's predictive effects, right? It's just the way people assume things are going to play out because, again, we're not dealing with money that OpenAI really has. I also was thinking on the, if the TikTok, a prospective TikTok stock going down after this Sora 2 launch, after the DeepSeek moment at the beginning of the year, if OpenAI were a public stock, it would have collapsed. At least briefly, with people assuming that, they've been undercut in price and comparable quality. So it's such a crazy volatile moment. And, the company that I homed in on with this, I mentioned a bunch, but the one that fascinated me the most is Oracle, of course, because Oracle has gone through this pretty incredible transformation over the last 6 months, basically, where this boring ass legacy database company that had basically missed out on cloud entirely. Like they were just getting washed by all the hyperscalers, managed to snag this OpenAI data center deal. And it suddenly became like a legitimate player as a cloud computing company. They're an AI company all of a sudden.
Larry Ellison's the world's richest man now.
Briefly was.
Oh yeah, that's true. He slipped.
He's doing okay.
I'm not gonna, cry for him, his losses here.
Yeah. But they've managed to kind of redefine themselves all because of this one deal that came into existence because Microsoft basically said they didn't want to go in on Stargate, on this, huge data center vision that Sam had. And so I don't really know where the Oracle story is going to go. Like their stock has been down 15% or so in the last week, because I think people are sort of leveling off the euphoria. But
they have to go out. They have to go out and raise the debt, and they have to actually build the data centers and finance it. They don't have the cash flow to finance it themselves. So basically, what Sam Altman did, which is pretty genius, is be like, "Okay, Larry, you figure it out," and they have to figure it out now. And they can probably use stock inflation to help, but they don't have the cash flow. it's very telling to me. And I don't think anyone's really gotten to the bottom of this, that a company with tremendous cash flow, one of the leading hyperscalers, Microsoft, that owns a huge chunk of OpenAI, has, you would think, structurally every incentive to keep building out compute with OpenAI, has stopped doing so. What does that mean? I don't think anyone's really answered that question, but you know, it would be very natural for Microsoft to continue to partner with OpenAI and all this stuff. And the fact that Sam is going to Oracle that doesn't have the cash flow to support this instead is pretty telling to me.
Yeah. And this is one of those annoying moments where like we're all reporters here. So rather than speculate, we should probably figure it out.
Yeah, we should just go
and get to the core of it. But since we are here and we don't know the reporter yet, we might as well speculate on it. You know, I came into this piece initially thinking Microsoft had fucked up. You know, you looked at the Oracle pop after the Stargate, you know, announcement at their earnings, and you're like, man, that should have been Microsoft's money. Right? That should have been them appreciating even more, because they were the ones that were going to commit however many more tens of billions of dollars to building, you know, Sam's Tower of Babel. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, but maybe not. Maybe it's actually okay to not buy into every single thing that, you know, your insane megalomaniacal, you know, partner wants to go into. And they run a real business with Azure. You know, it does $75 billion a year. Do you really want to hinge your entire future on this company that's already been fairly unstable, and they all freaked out after the, you know, Sam Altman blip? And I don't, again, this is the annoying speculation, but I don't know how much like all that shit figured into the decision not to go in on Stargate, but I could at least follow the logic of like, there's a reason to maybe not do it. And maybe they're not, you know, the most, you know, they're not, maybe not the biggest loser in this moment that it might have seemed after the Oracle bump happened.
Yeah, I mean, we actually do have a little reporting. Now I'm remembering, I was at that dinner with Sam Altman where he talked about the AI bubble a couple months ago. And actually, I'm remembering now,
which moved stocks again.
It did, which was wild. I should have just like, posted that during, I thought about like live tweeting the dinner and seeing what would happen to like the Walter Bloomberg Twitter account. But so
spiraling off.
I asked Sam and Brad Lightcap, who has been running a lot of this partnership stuff, about this at the dinner. I was like, why is Microsoft not doing this? It seems strange to me. And the version of their response was like, you should ask them, but basically it's that no one hyperscaler can support the ambition that OpenAI has, and that they're continuing to work with Azure. And I know that's true. It is just strange. Yeah, it's just strange when you see like the market response to what Oracle's doing. And Nadella, to me, comes across as a pretty even-keeled, financial, tactical CEO. And the fact that he's sitting out of this hysteria moment, to me, is pretty telling.
Yeah. And he, of course, had that pretty, you know, vicious is the wrong word, but he had like a nice kind of ding on Sam after the Stargate announcement, being like, well, we're good for our $80 billion. Like, we actually have the money to fund our ambitions. And, you know, people were like, oh, that guy's gangsta. He's badass at the time. And then when you saw the Oracle pop, you're like, yeah, maybe he looks kind of like a wuss, you know, that he was, you know, only willing to stick to the 80 billion. That's actually just pocket change now for, you know, the trillions that Sam is talking about. But I wonder, you know, when it comes to the money, when it's going to start looking a little shaky, you know, when we're going to start seeing Sam or any of the companies that have to raise money to be able to fund Sam's ambitions see that there's some pushback from the financial markets. And you start to see a sovereign saying like, well, we're not going to go in for that level. We MGX, you know, we don't believe in it to that degree, or show us more revenue. Or the debt markets maybe saying like, Oracle, this second tranche of like $20 billion that you want to raise, like, we're going to jack up the rates on it because we just don't know how this is going to pay off for you in the near term. And I don't follow this stuff too closely, but like the rating agencies are probably going to start, you know, looking at some of these bond offerings and saying like, this is looking a lot more precarious than it might have seemed a couple of months ago. So
I got into a little bit of an exchange with Altman at that dinner about this, because he was talking about, he like looked at all of us at the table and like stone face said, you should expect us to raise trillions, right? And everyone's like, eating, and we're just like, okay. And I'm like, where are you going to get the money, Sam? You know, Sam is if Sam is good at anything, it's raising money, right? He's a career VC. He does a lot of like investing on the side. He knows where all the pools of capital in the world are. I said that to him like almost verbatim. I was like, where are the trillions? And he got eyes kind of lit up, and he started talking about he's going to come up with this new financing instrument, I think he called it. And he was like,
Okay.
if I knew what it was, I'd be so excited. I'd just tell you right now, we're figuring it out. And then I saw that he mentioned that again. He kind of alluded to that in the recent blog post about Stargate. I think there's going to be an announcement later this year, is my bet from him, on how they're going to finance it. I can't imagine it's anything other than like some mix of debt and tying like build outs to revenue and rev share or something. Like there's only so many ways you can skin a cat. Like I'm not really sure what the magic
there's
bean
debt,
is here.
There's vendor financing, and then there's just cash flow. I don't know what instruments
And like
he can
another
invent.
funny thing he said at the dinner was like, we would be profitable if we stopped doing training, which is like, sure. Like if the grocery store stopped paying for groceries, it would probably be profitable, way more profitable too. But that was to suggest that there are levers they have in the business, I think, where if they need to start making a profit, they could, which if it's research and it's training, I don't know if I buy that, but
Well, that's a ridiculous statement, because the reason companies and whomever are investing at them at that level is because they're promising AGI. So if they're to say we're going to stop trying to get after AGI and just like try to coast off of our consumer grade product, that's not going to give the kind of returns that SoftBank or any of the number of other huge companies that have put money into OpenAI were expecting when they took on that equity.
maybe you can get to AGI through AI Vine with ads.
Yeah.
We'll get
That's
to
actually,
that. We'll get to that.
we're going to jump into that a bit.
What do you, I want to bring up, Alex, your story about ads, because we're talking about like, I guess you can also just make money on your own as a company to try to fund these things. What do you know about OpenAI's ads? How they're going to start shoving ads into our chat?
Yeah, this was I feel like I have to plug things now. It's really strange. This was a sources.news scoop last week. Fiji Simo, the new CEO of applications at OpenAI, which basically the way it's split up now, and I don't think this is fully understood externally, is like Sam is running research, safety, infra with Greg Brockman, and then Fiji has everything else. And that includes ChatGPT, the consumer business, marketing, basic, all that stuff that is a normal company. And she is now looking for someone to run all of monetization, reporting to her. And part of this mandate, and it's also very clear from the people I know she's talking to, which includes some of her former Facebook colleagues, is that this is to do ads. This is to put ads in ChatGPT. I mean, her title is applications, and that didn't make sense until this week when they released the Sora app. I think that there will be a web browser app. I'm sure they'll do others. And the idea is to monetize all that. And, it's also including the subscriptions, but it will be ads. And they're already thinking through that.
Which is like, that's her bread and butter, right? She ran Facebook video. She understands that stuff.
She was
Instacart.
a pretty critical part of Facebook figuring out monetization in the very early days, even before she was just running video. That kind of work that goes behind the scenes that no one really thinks about unless you're in it, and it's kind of thankless work, but it's what makes the billions of dollars. It's like ranking optimization, creating like structured data, connecting the dots. It's very telling that she they just acquired StatSig, which was basically another colleague of hers at Facebook went off and made a startup to sell a version of the A/B testing software that Facebook pioneered that really is what helped it scale to billions of users and billions of dollars. That tooling is now internal at OpenAI, and that's going to be very critical, I think, for them to monetize ChatGPT. And he's running engineering now, Vijay, the CEO of StatSig. So yeah, she's getting the band back together, and it's like there's a small group of people that know how to do this on a scaled platform and that have done it before, and they either worked at Facebook or Google.
I have to say, with the launch of Vibes and, Sora 2's video feed coming back and forth right there, it does seem like, given, with also Fiji's hiring spree, that OpenAI is visualizing as far as revenue goes and profit generation right now, coming from competing with kind of app-based products that sort of were Meta's bread and butter for a while. Like when in the Meta printing money machine, it comes from, these really addictive consumer applications. And so it makes sense if you are looking for money right now to, poach the geniuses behind that and build something very similar. But I think, in the race between which of the foundation model makers are really pushing with each other right now, as we get into the product side, it seems like OpenAI is competing more with Meta directly as a rival than, maybe Google, which it was at one point, I think, in the model race back in the day with Gemini. It seemed like they were much more neck and neck.
I mean, I think they're competing with both from like a use case perspective. The ambition is actually pretty crazy. I think they're going for the core Google use cases, rebuilding G Suite, an AI version of G Suite from the ground up. They're trying to replicate Google Cloud with Stargate. ChatGPT functions a lot, does a lot of the stuff that you would use search for, which everyone knows. But yeah, I think the Meta side is the newer thing and what explains that rivalry that we've seen playing out over the last year or so. They've hired a ton of ex-Facebook people at OpenAI. And then, as we all know, Zuck has gone and spent a lot to hire a bunch of ex-OpenAI people. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a small world, but I see them actually competing with both Google and Facebook.
Mm-hmm. The ad stuff is so interesting to me. And Alex, you and I have been like social media company reporters for a long time. And you always see this trajectory that a company goes on where they think they can like reskin the cat on how to make money. And no one ever really goes into it wanting to do ads. And like famously, you and I both covered, not famously that we covered it, but just like the whole trajectory that Evan Spiegel went on with Snapchat, where he basically tried to go through every other option of making money off of the app before realizing like, fuck, we got eyeballs. This is just what you're supposed to do. Let's just shove ads into it. Never really made a great business out of ads, but that's a separate point. But like, it's the most derivative and uninspiring way to make money from an internet product that has a lot of users. But the money is there on the table, and I guess at some point you realize like, why are we beating ourselves up trying to find so many other options when like it's different with chat because obviously they do have real revenue from subscriptions and stuff, but. This is where
there's a ceiling to that. There's only so many millions of people in the world that will pay a subscription. And it's a good business. It's billions a year in ARR, but look at what they're doing in India, which I think will soon be their largest market if it isn't already. They're doing a lower priced subscription because you can't do a $20 a month subscription in India and expect hundreds of millions of people to buy it. So their ability to like keep eking out incremental gains through subscriptions is already hitting a wall. So they have to do ads. I mean, it's the only way you're going to fund this stuff. It's the only way that
Netflix too, another example.
Yeah, it's the only way that, by the way, that Meta and Google fund whatever they're doing. The metaverse, the glasses, Waymo, Alphabet, all this stuff has been built on the back of ads. Like literally all the cool, weird, sometimes failed, sometimes not, crazy moonshot technology of the last 15 years has been funded by advertising.
Yeah, but they're also good ad platforms in their own way. Google and Meta/Facebook are, because one, they have really good data and they're monopolies for the categories that they exist in. And so like when it comes to search ads, Google is the only stop shop, and they also are very effective and done it for a while. And, same with Meta and Instagram ads. I don't know what the niche will be for chat. Like they are a monopoly within consumer, AI chatbots. So, the money that will exist in that world, they will probably consume almost all of it. And then obviously, OpenAI is going directly, like you mentioned, at Google, at search. They are kind of cutting down on search traffic. And they're eating into, the amount of views that search get. And so I guess their play will eventually be like, well, if search is getting less attention, you need to bring, this attention over to chat. But what I don't know is like, are they going to leverage the data that they need to in order to have targeted ads? Is that going to be something people are comfortable with? Is it like, as a user experience, something that people will, just sort of accept in the way that they did with, newsfeed ads or search text ads? I mean, it is going to be a relatively new experience.
I mean, have you guys asked ChatGPT what it knows about you?
No.
I've
Let's
never
do
done
that now.
I mean, this also came up at the dinner. I was asking Sam about like these profiles that you have of people. You have like probably the best advertising profile of an internet user of any company on earth because of the kinds of things that you tell ChatGPT. And that data is probably not structured in a way it needs to. That's the work that Fiji and this team she's hiring for are going to be doing. And I expect that to take, months. It's very hard to do at a platform at their scale. Because I don't think they had the foresight when ChatGPT was scaling that they were going to do this. So they have to kind of go back and rebuild the plane as it's flying. But there's no question this is going to be a powerful ad platform. I mean, look at what they just did with Pulse. The thing it's gated right now to the $200 a month pro tier, but it's basically a AI agentic digest every morning that uses your history to say, and your connectors to Gmail and whatever, and say, you should follow up on this email. This is the plane ticket, blah, blah, blah. Here's like a bedtime story for your kid tomorrow night. Like, oh my God, that is an incredible ad surface.
Wait, Tom, do you have your profile? Do you know what ChatGPT
Yeah. Do you want me to read it so I can let all the bots
know
how to advertise to me? It says you're really into exercise, nutrition, just letting people know these things. Yeah, these are sports, writing and work, because I have maybe used it to polish a couple of leads. Personal life, you're from Russia. Interesting. It says personal life, you're from Russia. You had a stomach flu recently. You sometimes like a Jamaican patois accent when we talk about medication.
What?
Wait, is the last one
so
true?
Much about you.
I don't believe all the other stuff, but please tell me the last one's true.
So I did. This is partially true. When I had COVID a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to give it. I wanted advice from it on how to like monitor or to measure out which like fucking sleeping medications I was taking. I don't know. I was bored. I had COVID. It was my birthday. I was depressed, and so I was asking it to tell me like, oh, when should I take NyQuil? When should I take Advil? And then in that process, I was like, can you also explain this stuff to me in a Jamaican patois?
Did it do it?
Yeah, it did, but I don't think I can read it on air for.
No,
It actually did it?
Oh yeah. I'll send it to you later, Alex. Again, I don't think I could read it out loud, but it was very funny. I got good mileage out of that.
Okay, so at least some of this is true.
I don't know why I decided I'm from Russia.
Are you like
stomach flu
into
again
like
is wrong because I was very specific about COVID, which had no stomach flu.
Are you like a fan of Putin? Have you been like asking a lot for like pro Putin propaganda or what?
I do love my strongmen.
Yeah.
So it interpreted from that. And then movies and culture, and then other bits. You've asked about product/company accuracy checks. Okay, so I do some fact checking through ChatGPT too. Asked about Broadcom, Oracle, NVIDIA, Confluent. That's the high level sketch. Do you want me to keep going? No, I don't, Chat. I don't. What's yours, Alex? Let's go clean slate here.
I'm scared to do mine. Madeline, why don't you read yours?
Well, I searched mine and it didn't work very well because I have a separate ChatGPT account for my personal use. And right now I'm only logged in for the Newcomer business account. So it only knows things related to me about business. But it does say, here's what I've learned about Madeline Rinbarger. You are an employee at Newcomer, and here's your email and your Twitter handle. And I joined Newcomer as the publication's first reporter to cover startups and venture capital, and previously was at Business Insider. So it knows a lot about my work history, but it knows very little about what I like to search. So if I go to my personal account, that's where the juicy details will really lie, I bet.
Yeah, so here's mine. You're Alex Heath, a tech journalist currently launching your independent media venture. You're leaving The Verge, where you're a deputy editor, to run your publication Sources, new companion podcast Access with Alice Hamburger. You cover the inside conversation of the tech industry, AI, big tech, executive level developments. You regularly interview top figures like Mark Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, Dylan Field, Brett Taylor, Andrew Bosworth. You're setting up a California LLC. You're evaluating credit cards and banking. You've been negotiating distribution and sponsorship deals. Reach out, by the way, if you're listening to this. You carefully think about revenue splits, monetization models, long-term growth strategies. You enjoy cooking. You're into travel. You like film photography. You play poker. You enjoy gardening and plants, kind of. I mostly ask about that for my wife. You like efficient, direct answers. And then it keeps going. So like this
Tell
is
me
like
about that one, Alex. Are you just like getting pissed off at it? Be like, you're taking too long.
I don't like this sycophancy.
Keep it quick.
Like I don't like when the blowback to 4.0 is happening. I was like, what are people talking about? Like I don't want this thing like pretending like it's my friend. But
okay. So you were
this is like an advertiser's wet dream. Like,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
honestly a lot more detailed than I feel like even on Meta. I know you can go in your settings and search how much from your Facebook profile it can glean about you. And
Yeah.
this is, I'd say, on par with that. So
Yeah.
in terms of data, they're kind of neck and neck with Facebook there about what they can
I would say
get
it's
about
more.
you.
I would say it's
Yeah.
more because it's like search. It's an intent-based environment, whereas Meta is having to infer based on more passive interactions, scrolling, liking, sending something. Those are like they're implicit, they're not explicit. Whereas you're literally telling ChatGPT what you want, what you're thinking about, your deepest, darkest secrets. So yeah, the opportunity financially is tremendous. The responsibility is even greater. And
Well, have you gotten a sense, very early days about like where they're trying to put guardrails in on how
No.
data is used?
I mean, I
and
asked Sam about
comfort
that
and-
at the dinner, and he was like, "Yeah, it's a huge responsibility. We think about it, but like we'll figure it out."
Yeah. By the way, you guys can read it later, but I threw in my Jamaican patois answer into the chat. Again, I
cool.
do not feel comfortable reading it out loud on the air, but
It should be the cold open.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I tried to get the voice to do it, but
Good God. Yeah. No, good thing we didn't read this.
yeah, I can't. We've all seen the Adrian Brody SNL clip, and as much as he does resemble me in some ways, I don't want to experience that level of cancellation.
You don't want to do a Ross Trent bit here. So
Let's talk about what's going on our socials these days with Sora 2 and Meta Vibes. Alex, I've seen you post some of your slop on the feeds.
I'm in the
Maddie,
the slop factory mining away.
Madeline, you got an invite code. Have you played around with it yet?
I did, yes. I just started playing around with it, so I was generating myself, kind of gardening some strange plants. I think I was on a little shop kick there for a bit, but I have not. I have noticed that the guardrails are pretty intense about what it can or cannot generate. Like I tried to get it to generate me jumping off of the Empire State Building onto a phoenix and then flying away, and it will not let you use the prompt jump off a building. It will not let you generate that. So it actually, the content moderation is pretty limiting, honestly, from what I found a lot of stuff to do, because avoiding, they're really sensitive about like the self-harm kind of like dangerous images stuff. But I found that interesting. Like
You can get around it though. Like I asked it to make me look like Superman. It wouldn't do it. And then I was like, red superhero with a cape flying. And it was like a mix of Supes and Avengers. I mean, the IP theft is incredible. There was a Wall Street Journal story that they're basically telling all the studios, you have to opt in to not have your IP featured in this. So I've seen like straight up Pokemon.
The
Rick
Pokemon and Mario and Luigi.
Rick and
I didn't know if
Morty.
they'd struck a deal with Nintendo.
I've
or
seen a lot
something.
of SpongeBob too. in
Yeah,
my
I
feed.
mean, Rick and Morty, like, there's no way they got all these deals. There's no way.
Right.
So
Right. We would
they're
have
just
heard
betting
about
that
them.
this will play out how it has with all the text-based copyright AI stuff, which is like years of litigation, some settlements, and by the time it really gets to like a ruling, we're on like AGI. I mean, I think that's the play.
Classic tech industry play, like basically break the law or, get to a point where you get sued for allegedly breaking the law and then pay a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
And then everyone kind of moves on.
It's like YouTube Viacom all over again. I mean, you remember all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And we saw what happened to the industry after that. I mean, it does
Right.
get fairly depressing if you're someone who cares about that stuff. But
Yeah.
the thing that I guess everyone is trying to figure out right now, and I'm on the fence about, is like, is this really that big of a moment, this Sora 2 thing that we're seeing, or is it just, a fad that dominates our algorithms for a couple of days, a week or two, and then it just kind of fades into the background as another kind of cool feature? And it's hard to have this conversation, it feels like, because we're in the midst of this deluge of all of this, just being overwhelming. That's basically all I see on my fucking feeds right now. I mean, where do you stand on this? Because I think you and I are going to come out on different places, Alex. So
The top three
give me
apps-
the maximalist argument.
The top 3 free apps in the App Store right now in order are Gemini, ChatGPT, and Sora. So that's within like 24, not even 24 hours.
And it's not even public access yet.
It's not public
invite-only still.
access. The reason it's going to work and the reason it is a success and Meta Vibes was a slot failure is the cameo thing, is being able to feature your friends, opt into sharing your likeness with other people. Sam Altman opted into sharing his likeness with everyone on the app. So he's like the main character. Like you cannot, if you scroll through the feed, it's just nonstop like Sam Altman GPU jokes.
Oh
right?
yeah, Alex, I was joking with Tom earlier that half of my Sora feed is Sam Altman and the other half is Jesus. So
yeah. And like he wanted that clearly. And like, I think, all these tech CEOs love attention, and I'm sure Zuck is fuming that he's not like the main character of Vibes.
Could you have imagined if the shoe was on the other foot and Vibes had a cameo version and, Zuck opened himself up to this
people
sort of
would
thing?
like it.
Would people
like
have
it.
liked that though? People would
Yes.
have been meaner about it, because people just have a natural revulsion to Zuck, either his personality or just the way he looks.
The Technorati does. But normal people would have loved it.
Again, who's to say, because it didn't happen, but like Sam kind of has this, dorky philosopher image that people, lightly make fun of, but you don't see this level of pure hatred. Whereas Zuck, really does bring a darkness out of people because of the way he is. I know you're closer to him than I am as a, interview subject, but you think this could have happened with the same exact situation with Zuck in the Sam position and Vibes just had this cameo feature?
I don't know if it would have been the exact thing. I mean, like ChatGPT has such a halo, like the vibes are good. Everyone wants to know what OpenAI is doing. Like they're the belle of the ball. Like anything they do is going to get the most attention. So sure, it's not the same. At the same time, I think, and I wrote about this in Sources last night, is like, I think Meta fundamentally misunderstood that it's not that people don't want AI slop. It's just they want AI slop with their friends in it. And I think the reason people were
ironic for the social media option,
for
the friend company.
Yeah, for the social media company to not understand this, right? And they clearly rushed it out. I actually know this. They rushed it out because they knew that Sora was coming. The Sora app was coming, and they wanted to be first. And they're not even using like custom models. They're using Midjourney and Black Forest, and it was very hacked together. Like they tried to get me to write about it, and gave me access. I think it was the first person to get access before it launched, and like the metadata was broken. Like it was like text strings on the captions that weren't English, like didn't make sense. Like it was so rushed together, and you saw the dunking on Twitter about it because it was like there was no humanity to it. It was just like all these crazy fantastical, it was like deviant art on steroids. And like there's a market for that. That's fine. Like that is an interesting idea, but it is
the newsfeed to a degree at this point. Anyway.
Kind of. I mean, the newsfeed at least still has people in it. It may not be people you want to see, or it may increasingly be AI characters, but like the Meta Vibes feed is like a dog that looks like a unicorn, flying like into hell. Like it's all this crazy stuff. And like Sora is like, this is what I call it. It's like, it's AI Vine. It's like completely what it is. It's like Vine, but AI generated. It's funny. It's lighthearted. It features your friends, faces, like that's the better approach.
Right. Well, but then this brings us to the question, because you make the Vine comparison. I mean, that obviously was a phenomenon in its day, gets bought by Twitter. They kind of kill the whole thing. And TikTok comes along to basically take short form video and make it into a massive industry. But how do you know that what's happening right now, as we're in the heat of this moment, isn't just going to be another Studio Ghibli moment, or Facebook filters moment, or MSQRD, or any sort of thing that people kind of enjoy in that particular moment? It's fun. You can put it out there. You get some attention for it. And then it just was like a toy that you put back onto the shelf because it didn't fit intrinsically into the way you really want to express yourself. Or it's just kind of gets hacky.
I mean, Studio Ghibli added like 100 million users to ChatGPT. So I don't really buy the argument that was like a fad that like didn't matter.
Well, but are these people using, I'm not saying it won't have benefits to OpenAI or to ChatGPT, but I'm saying as a medium, as a mode of expression. Again, it's only based on what I consume through my socials, but like I don't see the Studio Ghibli thing happening anymore. It was a couple of weeks, which was more than I thought it was going to be. But like, does this, is this just a feeding mechanism for more people to sign up for ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Or I guess Sora in that? Or do you think like this is going to be sustained as a, mode of expression, as another way to people to create shit?
Who knows if it'll be sustained, but I think it clearly has, as they say, product market fit within the first 24 hours, which we can't say that Meta Vibes did. So, it's number 3 on the App Store. It'll probably be number 1 at some point this week. It's not even open to the public. It's just funny. Like I've laughed when I'm on it, which is like something you will never say using Meta AI. And I think that says a lot. Like there's something about AI content that is silly and jokey and featuring people and their faces that is just way more approachable and feels like oddly human in a really strange Black Mirror way, but it's something you can't look away from. At least that's my experience. So it's like, I mean, it's slop. Like I'm not pretending that this is like, the same thing as like solving, cancer with AI, but I mean,
or making a real, movie or TV show or something. I mean, this goes off, it branches off in a whole different discussion, but anytime a tech video creation tool goes off in the way this one has, you do have people out there being like, oh, Hollywood's fucked. Oh, this is the only way that we're going to be making movies in the
Hollywood's
future.
Hollywood's always fucked.
Yeah. I also just want to disregard that point. It's just a whole different conversation, but
yeah, short form video isn't comparable to like cinema. Yeah.
Yeah, it is its own thing, and like film festivals have a separate track for AI video. Like they do consider it its own genre
for now.
Right now, for now. But yeah, as a creator, sorry, not myself as a creator, but as someone who's like played around with this stuff.
You're a creator, Tom. Don't sell yourself short.
Am I?
Yeah.
Am I? I don't know. I like to consider myself a philosopher influencer. I didn't have as much fun as I thought I was going to have on it. I don't know. I made a couple of videos. Most of them were me and Sam just hanging out, just sort of fulfilling my fantasies. But
please do tell.
It just we were podcasting.
Oh, okay.
That's all I really think about. I did one video where it was me and Sam, and I turned into a mech. And I wanted to stomp him, actually. Like I was going to be a giant mech and stomp him, but I typoed and I said stop him. And it made it sound like I was trying to stop him from achieving AGI. I did a video of me like as a man. This was not creative stuff. This is just my fault, I guess. I was like
you got a dream big.
I was in a Western. I was coming into town. I was like kind of like a baddie from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I was like, where are all the tech reporters? I want them out here and I want them gone. It was okay. I don't know. Are you happy with your Sora videos?
I need to think about it more. I mean, like you, I struggle with creativity, but it's the thing that it works about it is the remixing. Like, Katie Natopoulos, who I would say is much better at this, will just like make something because I've allowed anyone to use my likeness. And then I can remix it. I can be like, oh, that's an interesting idea. I want to like put myself in a GPU jail as I'm reading the newspaper about Sora hitting #1 in the App Store, which is something I did this morning. And like, that's fun. That's like no other platform you can do this on. Like, at least it's new. It's probably going to destroy society in some way. Yes, it's like, there's a really good argument that like, are we lighting up data centers and poisoning the climate to create this slop? Like, there's a lot of good arguments about why you shouldn't do this. At the same time, like, I laughed last night, and you know what? Like, in launching a company, I haven't had a lot of time to laugh, so that was nice.
As we saw from your ChatGPT records, none of them had anything to do with mirth.
No,
there was not. You Alex Heath, are a mirthful person. I guess maybe like to close off this section of it, like you've basically already described it as a success. Like it's high enough on the App Store. It's gotten enough attention on our socials that this did everything that Sam wanted it to do.
I mean, resounding like day one success. Yeah. I mean, I think like Meta, the largest social media company in the world that can like promote things on Instagram, Meta Vibes was not in the top 20.
Anything. Yeah.
Like, no. So the vibes are changing, as they say.
Yeah, the vibes are off. What does Google need to do to respond? I've been having a lot of fun with Nano Banana.
Yeah, I mean, they're number one
tool.
And I think all this is showing, by the way, that like people just want this AI stuff to help them make things and like create and be expressive. And honestly, it reminds me of when we covered Snap Tom and they had all those viral moments with the face filters, which really propelled Snapchat through a lot of key growth moments. It was like face swap, the crying thing, like all of that was like, it was new at the time and people ate it up and it was viral and it's great for a social product. And like Gemini's going through that right now. They're number one, Nano Banana's crushing. And then ChatGPT's number 2 and Sora's number 3. And it's like, those are the 3 tools right now that are letting people do weird new things with AI that are expressive and weird and fun.
Yeah. The fun thing with Snapchat was always so interesting with Evan Spiegel because he had this commitment to saying Snapchat is a toy. We are not trying to, have effects on society. He would get a little off, that mission at times, because he would say this is like essential to how young people communicate, and we are giving them the platform to express themselves in ways they wouldn't be able to otherwise. And literally in the S1, he was saying like, this is a toy. Sam has to sort of balance the like, we have made a fun toy with the like, yeah, we are curing cancer and this is going to have huge job displacement. And I don't think he's figured out the message yet on that exactly. Like I saw this morning, he was trying to like, split the baby on like, well, it is important that we do these things because we need to show off what our technology is capable of doing along the way. And then also we'll do the AGI thing. It's all a step towards that.
Yeah, that's a debate inside OpenAI. I mean, you've got a lot of people who join these labs to invent AGI and to, increase GDP and create like amazing productivity software. And now they're being told to create like AI TikTok. So you're going to have a culture clash for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes me wonder, because there are companies out there that are still dedicated. I mean, basically Ilya Sutskever's company is out there saying like it's AGI or nothing.
Yeah.
And that's interesting, but about this internal debate there, like I got to think that's a good recruitment tool for SSI right now.
Oh, for sure.
This will say like,
I was going to say there's even a bunch of other startups jumping into this space too. Periodic Labs came out of stealth on Tuesday, and they're coming around. It was basically a lot of the scientists who defected from OpenAI and DeepMind who wanted to be using this tech to, look at the genome and discover new chemicals and do drug discovery and scientific discovery. And they basically, in my opinion, that's like, oh, there was this mass defection of some of these researchers who are motivated by meaningful work, quote, starting their own company. So it does seem like people are just doing this in a way where they maybe will go out and start their own business.
Yeah, no, I think this will be, this is a good story, wink, wink, but like this culture clash of AI people building this stuff who want to build AGI science breakthroughs, curing cancer. And I would put like Demis in this camp. I would put, Ilya,
Mustafa
obviously
certainly thinks he is over at Microsoft.
I don't actually know what Mustafa believes. You should have him on the pod. And then
I don't know if he's dying to talk to me, but okay.
Yeah, and then Zuck, and then I guess Sam now to a degree, who are like, oh, we can also do this slop, and we can do like social, and we can make this very consumery because we have to make a business in the near term. That's a culture clash for sure, and that's fun to cover.
Yeah, and it's also it speaks to the moment that we're in, where you have this whole group of young people, younger even than you, Alex, who are part of this AI, San Francisco AI revolution, who are these extremely grind set, don't even date. All they believe is that they're being part of some sort of socially transformative technology, and that's the only thing that they talk about. Like, I don't know if that's the entirety of the movement, but it's a core part of it. And, that's what's gotten them excited about. I don't know how skillful they are. I don't know how important they're going to end up being to all of this, but like those people are going to be
kids.
Yeah.
Never going to amount to anything.
The 996 kids. I mean, there was a great line. There's this New York Magazine article about them the other week that was really great. That was just like, most of them aren't dating, but almost all of them are hiring.
Yeah.
And like,
what's the difference?
That's how they view social interactions. And like for them, Sora 2 is not the off ramp they want.
I don't know. I mean, we have the Friends CEO on Access this week, the Access podcast, who's going viral for all those billboards in New York.
Oh yeah, the
and
subway
LA.
ads. I've seen all those plastered
for the AI
around.
pendant that you wear, that's your friend, and he's like 22 and is exactly the archetype you're talking about, Tom. And it was really interesting to talk with him. Like, he's already like, how do I build my company for AGI? Like, a lot of these people that are that age and coming up and starting companies, there's a phrase for this, it's escaping me, but they're basically already like, they're rushing to build before, none of this matters.
Oh yeah, they're like, if AGI comes by 2027, you only have like 2 years to amass generational wealth, or you're not going to make it.
The amassing wealth thing, and like, and that really came through for me with Avi. Like, I think there is this like fervor and like insane drive to do as much as possible in a short amount of time. And like OpenAI
basically
personifies
as much before none of it matters anymore.
Yeah.
Just like
exactly.
Fill your bag with lucre before the whole fucking thing just like goes under.
Yeah. What a fun time to be alive.
The slop apocalypse.
Perfect place to end the episode.
Yeah.
And I got a
Alex-
podcast plugin. Look at that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
by the way, I mean, since we're winding down here, and you've mentioned it a couple times, you've done a good job plugging yourself. But is there anything you want to mention? I mean, we didn't really tee it up in the episode, but like you recently left The Verge. You know, you are a creator and an influencer, and maybe
You've joined us in newsletter world, independent media.
Yeah, I'm on Substack, sources.news, the Access podcast with Ellis Hamburger and Vox Media, a former Snap employee, Tom.
Former Snap employee.
Sorry,
Nice.
Madeline, you're probably like, why are these guys talking about Snap? Like, I don't think about Snap at all. And it's because no two people on earth have devoted as much reporting thinking power to Snap as Tom and I. So, of course, we're going to talk about it on this pod.
The amount of times that I, on vacation, felt it necessary to discuss people that like, oh, you know, there's a shakeup in the growth group happening in Snap right now.
It was a simpler time, you know?
See,
Like,
I
it
love
felt-
that.
was.
I love harkening back to the social media wars days. Is quaint for me as a
And
reporter
you know what's
during
great
the
about
AI
that
era.
too is like talking about like the young kids, you know, running, you know, the AI scene, and certainly like young reporters. They do not understand and give a fuck about the Snapchat days. It is of zero interest to them. I was like, man, you don't understand. This was the OpenAI of its time. Like the chaos within that company mattered so much to people.
Yeah.
And now I just sound old.
We're old. It's okay.
We are old.
It's okay.
You're not old. Well,
thank you,
you can
Madeline.
keep generating Sora videos of youth. It'll be great.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
my
but no-
prompts are like at Tom Dotan, but younger. Talking to Sam Altman. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it is
younger
very
and more beautiful.
it is very weird to be meeting founders who like have businesses with millions in ARR, and it's like, oh, you're 10 years younger than me. It does make you feel really old. But yeah, no.
only gonna get worse.
Anyway, I'm sources.news. Check me out. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This is fun.
All right. Thanks for doing it, Alex.
Yeah.
Thanks again for tuning in to this episode of the Newcomer Podcast. And shout out Alex Heath for joining us. That was a lot of fun. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. It really helps out our channel. And listen to new episodes every week wherever you get your podcasts.